I'm back. Throughout my life, people have said some interesting and unusual things to me. Not to be compared to the weird things that people said to me. One of the most interesting things that sticks in my mind is when my first annual tour as an Air Force reservist in 1984 was to early 85. Our first trip was overseas to Rhein-Main Air Force Base. And I really enjoyed the trip immensely. By the way, Rhein-Main Air Force Base is a co-located, or was a co-located military installation on with the Rhein-Main Airport, civilian airport, in Frankfurt, Germany. But anyway, the second week we were there, I got to work on a sandwich cooler. It's my first real job I was responsible for, and as I worked on it, we kept taking it apart, putting it back together, and we couldn't quite seem to solve the issue. And well, it turns out that this particular sandwich cooler was a refurb from a salvage depot the military keeps all over the world, several salvage depots. And as I was taking it apart and putting it back together, which was good experience for me, I made mention that you know, the capillary tube is really long. So we got to hunting it up and we looked at it, and we managed to discover that it was too long. And so we, in the process of trying to get it cut down, well, during this whole time I had the shop supervisor from Rhein-Main Air, the refrigeration and air conditioning shop supervisor, looking over my shoulder. I had my personal or direct supervisor looking over my shoulder, and then I had my own shop supervisor looking over my shoulder, and then and the two civilians there looking over my shoulder as well. And after a while, I kind of was saying, hey man, I got like 19 guys telling me what to do and just me, you know. It was like a case of too many chiefs and only one Indian. So, you know, that was one of my first complaints. So anyway, when we got done, I put it back together, and at least it would cool it down to 40 some degrees, but it was only a sandwich cooler, so it wasn't totally critical. We needed to cool it down to, say, in the 30s, but you know, that's too many chiefs, not enough Indians thing, which is what caused the problem there. Afterwards, a day or so later, you know, my relationship with the two civilians kind of cooled off. Now, they were Germans, but they could speak some English, pretty fair. One of them was a World War II veteran of the German Army, and one of the things that over the 2 weeks that we were there, one of the things we talked about a little bit was World War II. He says to me, a lot of good men died in that war, and he was talking about German soldiers. And I recognized it for what it was, a lament. And I said, yeah, a lot of good men on our side died too. You know? I don't know what to say. Over the years, I've had a chance to think about it. And there are several things that you have to take good men for. The least of which, or the most, well, the greatest of which, of course, Christ saying, call no man good, for there is only one good who is in heaven, that is your Father. And but I want to touch on that a little bit, on the telepathy thing. Yeah. He said something else that was kind of funny to me, though. After this particular event with the sandwich cooler, he says, do you know what a shysta means? And I looked at him, I sort of knew. I mean, here in America, when you call somebody a shyster, you're saying he's a ripoff, you know, he's ripping you off, sort of thing. But I looked at him and said, you know, to a German, shysta actually means something, literally. And I looked at him and I said, sounds like shit. The civilian, both of them were sitting there at the table. They laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. You know, the relationship after that warmed up. They realized that I was just an Indian with a crap load of chiefs, and I didn't really have a choice in it. And I finally had to say something about it. It got so bad. So, anyway, just another funny little life story. Enough said. Click.